Hello, this is Barbie Mathis. As an art teacher, I'm always getting asked, why do you tone a canvas? And what color do I use, and does it matter? And so in this video, I want to share with you 4 reasons to tone a canvas, along with color choices and examples that I've used on paintings so that maybe it will help you make your choice too. And first of all, I'm just getting started, so hit that like and subscribe button when you have a chance. And now I'll get started. Okay, what are the 4 reasons? 1, it prevents the white of the canvas from showing through. It's really hard when you're first painting to see the values of a painting and the colors that you want to use if you just start with white. An example of that is in these fruit paintings that I've done. This is the underpainting with a little bit of glaze on top of the fruit. You still can see little speckles of white showing through before I'll actually put more paint on the canvas, and this one as well. It shows little imperfections. So first of all, you might want to choose to do a color so that you don't see the white showing through. Another reason is it creates a visual foundation if you use a base color, and you can see the values from light to dark easier. It affects the whole mood, whether it be peaceful or, or whether you want it to be more energetic. And it reduces the anxiety of painting because a lot of people don't want to paint just on a white canvas. And so, as you can see on some of these, I'm going to show you that it will add a depth and a richness to your painting. And first of all, some of the colors that I like to use, and there are a variety, are either burnt sienna, yellow oxide, this is an ultramarine blue, there's gray, quinacridone magenta, this is a pyrrole red, and this is black. And you would think, well, why would you paint with some of these colors? Well, some of the colors you've seen for a long time because the masters used earthy colors such as burnt sienna, raw umber, or yellow ochre or oxide. The way that helps you with, well, it helps me especially if I'm doing a landscape. And this is not a complete landscape, but this was the example of the photo. And since the river had some of these colors in it and also the background of the trees, layering greens on top or reflections of the water just was a natural choice to use yellow oxide under it. Before you actually get into your painting, you can decide on the colors by maybe making a little chart. What do the colors look like on top of red? What do they look like, when you use all of these different colors with, instead of an under type painting, I used pastel pencils in order to test what it would look like on top so that I would see how my underpainting would do, and then I could actually use other colors on top of that. Here's another example of using pastel pencils instead of painting for an underpainting, and it gives you an idea of the tone it's going to create from the very beginning. And so here are some canvases that have colors on top of them such as yellow, quinacridone magenta. This is sort of a combination of blue. And an example of a way that I've done this with fruit before, I have this fruit painting sitting here. As I tip this right here, you can see that this was sort of a pinkish color. And what I like about this is I could do a paint sketch type of painting, and it shows little bits of pink through it, and it really adds to the color of the painting. It creates a lot of warmth in it. So you might want, a red or a pink if you want a lot of warmth in your painting. This is an example of fruit that I use for my beginner class often. This is the photograph, and it's just a very neutral photograph with a black background. But I toned the canvas this red color and started glazing colors on top. And the warmth of the red shows through, as you see the pears right here. You can see little bits of red through it, but it also added to the richness and the depth of the painting. And then when I put the lighter colors on the back, you can see the warmth of the red showing through, and it also added some richness in the shadows. And then when I added the dark on the bottom, you still can see a little bit of red coming through, and it adds to the interest of the painting, even though this is a really simple type of a painting. Another example that I have here is I've done a series of gardens, and you know, this was really popular with Monet. He would paint paintings in every lighting and every color, and if you look at his bridge paintings, his garden paintings, and several other paintings, you can see that he has studied the same subject matter with different types of lighting. And this is what I've done with the toned canvas. This actually is not toned, and I guess I just lucked up because some of the white showed through in the right places on this, but this was hard to cover. And I guess with my style, it's become a little bit looser since I did paint this painting, but I did have to put a lot of paint on top in order to cover the white of the canvas. This is an example of one halfway through where I started with a red canvas, and you can see the paint on top, what it's going to look like, and it's a much more vibrant, energetic painting. This one is an example of using the yellow oxide, and my greens practically mix themselves as I put them on the painting. And then now all I'm going to have to do is put in my final details and clean it up a little bit with some glazes, and you know, add some dots of color here and there. But it really helped in order to create the look of this painting. And so if you would like to know more about painting, like I said, like and subscribe to my channel, and if you have a question, drop it in the comments, and I'll be glad to answer anything for you. Thank you so much for watching this all the way through, and you have a blessed day. Bye.